Hi guys, Charlie Wall here, and it's Friday, and I have got your question of the week. I hope you can see me and hear me okay, and I hope you're okay. Let me know how you are in the comments below. So I've just come fresh from one of my SheConnects Circle group coaching calls. And we have been talking about procrastination quite a lot during the group coaching. And it seems to me that it's something that a lot of people that I work with certainly experience. And I think it kind of comes under that like perfectionism, procrastination, paralysis type thing. And it's really interesting to me, like that perfectionism, procrastination, and paralysis is all the things that we sort of feel when we go into our thinking, right? But those are 3 Ps. And I work in an understanding called the 3 principles. So that just made me laugh. I don't know why. But anyway, so who's listening, who experiences procrastination? What does it mean for you? What does it feel like when you experience procrastination? And when I ask that to most people, they'll say, you know, I really want to do something. Say, for example, I want to clean my house. That's a really, you know, like it's an example that we can all kind of probably relate to. Other things I hear is I really want to start an exercise regime. I really want to get this, I need to write this policy for work and I'm just procrastinating over it. So there's lots of areas where the procrastination or the sense of procrastination shows up for people. And it feels like pressure, and it feels uncomfortable, and it feels heavy, and it feels judgy, right? And so the way it looks to me now, and it didn't used to look this way to me, it used to be that procrastination was something I had, and it felt very real, and it felt like I was judging myself very harshly for not achieving and not doing the things that I needed to do. And believe me, and if you're anything like me, you'll have books with lists on, and another book with another list on, and another book with another list on, and then a post-it note with a list on that's got another list on. So there's like millions of lists everywhere, and we think if I just have it on my list, then I'll get it done and I can tick it off. Now, some people work really well like that, but me, not so much. I just had lots of lists with lots of notebooks, and then I just might open another notebook and put another list on. And the more lists I created, the more heavy I felt about the fact that I wasn't achieving, as I saw it, anything remotely near completing a list. Of course, I had several lists, so I was actually setting myself up to fail right from the start. But essentially what I'm dealing with here, and what I'm talking about here, is thinking, is having loads of judgy thinking about achieving whatever we've made up we need to achieve by the end of the day. Now, we've made up usually a time frame around what needs to be achieved, or very often it can come from work, which is, you know, like a real time frame. And people tend to, in my experience, certainly the people who talk to me, they have either a made-up time frame around when they need to complete something by, or they've been told by work that they need to complete something by a certain date, and they leave it till the last minute. So they put even extra pressure on themselves. So this thing to do sort of sits here like a big black hole on your shoulder, constantly there, like do the thing. And then what's happening is you'll basically talk yourself out of doing the thing, and every day it feels heavier and heavier and heavier, until the day before this arbitrary timeline we've made up or we've been given by work will work through the night to get it done, and it will be extraordinarily stressful, and we will have created this stress, right? Now, unbeknownst to me, we kind of live in the feeling of our thinking. And that might not make any sense to you, but if you follow my work, you'll get a sense of what I'm saying. The more thinking we have, the more we feel uncomfortable, or we feel anxious, or we feel stressed. And that's a lovely clue. Your body's trying to wake you up and alert you to the fact that you are really paying a lot of attention to all this thinking which doesn't serve you. So if I ask you a question, like when you're stressed, when you're anxious, do you feel wiser or do you feel disconnected from wisdom and intuition? Most people, if I ask that question to, they'll say, I'm disconnected. So ask yourself then, when do you feel more connected to wisdom or intuition? And most people will answer me and say, well, when I'm going to bed, or when I'm in the shower, or when I'm out for a walk. And that is a big clue, because you have got wisdom and intuition 100% of the time if you're not paying attention to all this thinking which is taking you away from it. All this anxious thinking, all this should, would, could. The shoulda, woulda, coulda committee, right? It drives us nuts. But if we don't know that that's just thought, which is just energy, and it's just, or a puff of smoke, and you are the smoke machine, we'll take that thinking seriously. So essentially, procrastination is just lots and lots and lots and lots of thinking piled upon thinking piled upon thinking about the thing that we need to do. And if we just do the thing, that great big black hole of heavy pressure will go. But if you don't know that, and you take this thinking seriously and this feeling seriously, and you think you have to get it right, and you are a perfectionist, and you have judgment and criticism, it's always alongside this kind of thing to do. There's another voice here going, you should have done this, and you're not good enough, and this is your evidence, and da-da-da-da. There's this whole kind of narrative and story about how you are getting life wrong, which ties into this sense of, I've got all this work to do and I'm not getting it done, and I self-sabotage and I'm doing all this thing. No, you're not self-sabotaging. You're not self-sabotaging. There's a thing about thought which, if you pay attention to it, just becomes heavier and heavier. It's like a snow globe, right? Some of you will have heard me. I don't know where my snow globe is at the moment. But if you shake a snow globe, that's essentially what happens when you have loads of thinking. Procrastination is just essentially thought and judgment and criticism. If I shake that snow globe, the snow goes everywhere. And that's what our thoughts are doing. If I set that snow globe down, I wish I had my... Oh, it's right over there, but I don't know if you can see it, but it's certainly not shaking. It's over there, but it's settled because it's not being shaken. And that's what we have to do. We have to set the snow globe down and the snow will settle on its own. So without any thinking, I'll work through my list. I won't use it as evidence that I'm self-sabotaging, that I'm not good enough, that I'm getting life wrong. I'll just do the thing that needs to be doing because I won't have any thinking about it. And often the thinking comes from, you know, a sense that we can get it wrong, a sense that we're stupid, a sense that we're a failure, a sense that there's some validation riding on it. And that's just not true. That's another layer of thought around believing that we can get it wrong. That's where the sort of perfectionist paralysis comes in. So just try and hear that procrastination is kind of something that we label. We label procrastination as so we feel kind of tense and pressure. And then we ourselves, uniquely, our human selves go, oh, that's procrastination because I've been told by society that's a thing that I need to overcome. So you're experiencing that, you're labeling it, you're making meaning of it, and meanwhile you're not doing the thing that needs to be done. It doesn't even need to be done, you're telling yourself it needs to be done. But what if you just did it in your own time when you felt inspired to do it, and if you didn't have all this thinking and all this heaviness, you would probably have space and time to do the stuff that you want to be doing. And that's the irony about this stuff. Most people will say to me, I haven't got space, I haven't got time. But if I really drill down, what they're actually doing is numbing by watching TV or scrolling on their phone or doing something, anything other than the thing that needs to be doing. Like, I don't really clean my house, I'm not a domestic goddess. But if I've got something to do, I can find myself cleaning the house just to not do the thing. So I'm with you, but it comes from some sort of brain stuff that's going on neurologically. Now, I talk about that on other videos, so I'm not going to talk about that here. But what I want you to get a sense of is you are absolutely fine. There's nothing wrong with you. We all work the same. Procrastination isn't really a thing. It's just lots of thought that we've labelled, and it's more evidence that we find that we get life wrong. You can't get life wrong. You cannot get life wrong. You're not doing life wrong. And you are good enough, and there's nothing wrong with you. How about that? So I don't know if any of that made any sense, but essentially it's a lot of thought that you don't need to pay attention to because it's lying to you. And if you just do the thing, that heaviness will be gone. And if you stop paying attention to all this shit that goes on in your brain that tells you you're shit, you'll have space to do what you want to do. So I hope that was helpful. I've got a retreat coming up in England in November where I'm going to be allowing space for you to be and offering coaching with me. And it's in a beautiful place called West Lexham. And I'm talking to a lot of people at the moment about having a space on the retreat. If you want to talk to me about it, 3rd week of November, let me know, send me a message. And if you're not in my free group or in my circle group, I'll post the links on this video because I explore this much more with my deeper community. And we have a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun this morning on the group call. And there's a lot of connection that goes on with the women. And one thing that I love about it is that whenever the women talk in that sort of group environment, they hear something in what the other women are saying and they feel less alone because we all work the same way. One of the women just has given up, has had 6 days off the alcohol, and that was a really big thing for her. And you know, everyone was rooting for her, and it was just the most amazing moment. And so many of the women have shifts in how they view themselves, and it's just such a wonderful community, and I'm so proud. I'm really proud of my community. But anyway, thank you for being here. Thank you for listening. Let me know if you listened later or if you're listening now, if there's anything that you hear in that, and I'll post all the links. And yeah, you take care today. I hope you have a lovely, lovely day. Mwah.